Hello, I'm Alf Taylor. This is my wife Judy, and we're going to show you our Moroccan textile collection. In 1978, I got a call from the Textile Museum in Washington, D.C., and they wanted me to help them with the first exhibit on Moroccan textiles in this country. I flew to Washington, D.C. with this one rug. I opened it out of my duffel bags, and Pat Fisk, the director of the museum, threw both hands to her chest and said, "That's the most beautiful rug I've ever seen." And that started a museum tour that lasted 13 years. It went from the Textile Museum to the LA County Art Museum. And then in 1993, we installed our collection at the United Nations. And now I'm going to give you a tour through here. I'm going to give some friends a tour, and I hope you'll come along with me. The collection is basically in three categories. It's the high Atlas mountain pieces, the rural Arab pieces, and the Berber tribal kilims in the Middle Atlas Mountains. And I'm going to start you out showing you the high Atlas Berber rugs. This is the Glawi tribe, and the Glawi tribe weaves a combination flat weave and knotted rug together. The flat weave is called a kilim, and they use natural dyes. This one right here, this little rug, Bonne année in French is Happy New Year, and the young girl who made this rug, she spoke French, but she wrote in Arabic, so she wrote it right to left. So there are fun pieces and there are serious pieces. The piece next to it, this is a natural black sheep wool, and it's the only tribe in the only country in the world that has enough black sheep to make a natural black sheep wool. The yellow dye is saffron, the red is madder, a root, and the green is indigo, saffron, and mint. And you've heard carpet manufacturers use the name the Berber rugs and Berber design. Well, they took that name because the Moroccan Berbers have such good wool. But these are the actual Berber rugs of the tribes of Morocco. There are 800 tribes in Morocco. There are about 20 or 30 tribes that weave is all, but there are 800 tribes and all speaking a different dialect. Morocco's a nice country. There's about 28 million people, and half of them live in the rural areas, the Berbers, and half in the city. They like everybody. It's a nice country to visit. Moroccans like everybody. Everybody likes going there. The Saudis, Qataris, Europeans. The country's really flourishing a lot right now because the tourism is so good.
Does each tribe have its own unique design?
Yes, and a lot of the designs are the only written language of those Berber people. So now a lot of the designs the meanings are lost because the people, they're weaving what their ancestors wove. And they still speak Berber, but they use the written Arabic alphabet. Along with the textiles, we've collected costumes from different regions of Morocco. This is the traditional jalaba that the men wear, like I have one on myself. And interesting thing about the jalaba is most of them are wool, and in the summer, even in the desert, the men wear the wool jalabas. Sometimes they'll wear two on each other because wool is the only fiber that your moisture doesn't evaporate. It holds your moisture in, so it's a lifesaver. They might not get invited to too many parties, but it's a drawback. This is a very important rug up here. I have to tell you about this because it's a pretty historic piece. The gentleman in the center is the late King Hassan, and on the sides are his son. On the right is the present-day King Mohammed VI and his brother Moulay Rashid. And in 1975, there was a dispute over the Western Sahara. Morocco wanted it, Spain wanted it, Algeria and Mauritania wanted it. And the United Nations said whoever could populate it owned the territory. So the king asked for 50,000 volunteers. He got 350,000 volunteers. Everybody wanted to go. I happened to be there in 1975, and this rug was made for that. It was the Green March, and it was the biggest peace march in the history of the world. And if you notice on the sons, they're wearing the green turbans, so everyone wore these green turbans and took buses and cars and made their way down to the Sahara and claimed the Western Sahara through population. This is the other region of the High Atlas Mountains, the Taznakt people. They weave all knotted rug together instead of the knotted and flat woven like the others. And this is an older rug with the natural black wool in the center, and then cochineal dye here, the red dye. It's from the prickly pear cactus.
When you say older, how old is that?
It's probably 50 or 60 years old. The oldest one we've ever found is maybe 200 years old. There's not many known more older than that Moroccan pieces.
This is an interesting story. Please tell us about that.
That's an interesting story. All you have to do is spend a fortune in Morocco and they'll make you a rug with your picture on it just to say, here we did something.
That wouldn't be you, would it?
Yes, that was me in 1975 without the flat top. And my 70s shirt with my big collar, and some people made that rug in the mountains and took my picture up there, and they made that rug and brought it down to me in Marrakesh as a gift.
And those are your animals that they gave you to bring back?
Well, it's the story is the man who came to Morocco and he liked the flowers and the animals, and it was the tourist who stayed is what that is about. And, yeah.
It's beautiful.
And along with the exhibit, we have a lot of the photographs of the weavers and the mountain people.
Alfie, when people go through and dye the wool, how long does it take to dye the wool of the Berbers, for instance, before they even get it to the loom when they're weaving it?
Well, it's a home kettle dyed thing. You know, if you can see, this is the dye market in Marrakesh. If you can see here, and people bring the wool in, these people dye it for them because most people don't have access to the dyes up there. And all colors together on skin make purple because all these gentlemen with their arms in the vat, they all have purple arms.
And then how long can it take to make a rug of this size? Will it be a multi-generational undertaking, or will one person finish it
No.
in a period of time?
One person always. If someone dies, they stop the rug. It's their artwork, and it's hard to judge how long it would take because these people, they aren't weaving for, they're not the city weavers who are weaving per square meter and for a certain amount of money. These are the moms of the villages, and when they're not taking care of their kids, they weave. The rug is the center, they call it the ridgepole of the tent, or the centerpiece of the home. Everything is done around the loom. The second group of rugs are the rugs of the rural Arab, which these are outside of Marrakesh. The people that live in the desert areas outside of Marrakesh, and they weave much more free-form, abstract rugs. This one museum catalog wrote this up and compared it to a Mondrian or Jackson Pollock painting. They also weave it to use it this way in the winter, and then they turn it over and they walk this way. They use this in the summer because they walk barefoot and it's cooler on their feet, but you can see the design so much better on the summer side. This is a Shinani Shishawa, is what it's called, and very difficult to find in Morocco, and even difficult to leave Morocco with. This collection toured so many places, and after the United Nations we retired it, but our aim is to find a permanent home for it in a museum. It is too big for us. It's without question the best collection of Moroccan textiles in the world is in this room. I know that for sure. The flat woven rugs of the Middle Atlas Mountains, I think, are the finest flat weaves in the world. The silk pieces they use at the rug, that you see the rugs behind you, there's nobody today that can weave like this in any country. These are the Zamor Berber weavings. This rug, we always call it the queen of the Moroccan textiles because it's silk and it just sparkles, and every place it's dark at the bottom, it's light at the top. It's just laid out perfectly. But it's made, they make them from behind, and it's made with hundreds of thousands of very, very, very fine threads. Whereas if you take this rug right here, which this was a star piece 30 years ago at the Textile Museum exhibit, if you look at the back of it, there are no loose threads. Each thread is taken all the way across, so it's much, much more complex weaving than the other. And the blue one is something they're doing new in Morocco. It's not traditional Moroccan, none of the designs are Moroccan, but I think maybe some European artists got up there and influenced them into these.
This one doesn't seem to have a border like the rest of them.
Right.
It looks like it must be older.
And most of the Moroccan rugs don't have borders because that's how the people think of themselves. The Romans called them the barbarians, the Berbers, but they called themselves the Imazghen, the free people, because they don't live with borders. This is an older silk rug, and you can see the border, how it changes. So it took one season to do this and one season to do this. So if you counted them up, Maybe she worked 3 or 4 years on this rug. This particular rug from the Middle Atlas Mountains has both the knotted rug and flat woven rug together.
Isn't that
Yeah, you get both of those.
This is silk.
See how it's just mellowed? No,
Oh
these are
my
master.
gosh. Yes, they are.
These are.
Oh,
I took this silk to Morocco and had this made.
you did?
These are the snow capes of an area called Beni Warrain, and I think these are the rarest weavings anywhere. This is one that I had made with my own silk that I took to Morocco, dyed with natural dyes. This is how they wear them.
Oh, my word.
Oh, that's so gorgeous.
When it snows, they wear this on the outside, and this keeps the snow away from their bodies. When it's not snowing, they turn the other side out.
Isn't that
Oh, my
beautiful?
word. Oh, that is just gorgeous.
The embroideries of Morocco are unparalleled, the silk embroideries. This was a piece that was done by hand. It was 2 pieces that snapped together, and they came out of a very fine home, and they were doorways that snapped. But all of it is perfection in weaving, except right here, if you can see how the deep